Hey everyone, my name's Sydney and welcome to the Adventure Fiberworks podcast. Today I want to talk about my both knitting, sewing, and crafting journey that has been the last year of 2022. It's been, it's that time of year where you start to look back and kind of visit, how has my year been, and reflect on that time. And going through, I keep a list of everything I make every month just to kind of give an idea of what I've done. And it's been interesting going and reading those entries back and just seeing all the things I've accomplished. There were surprising things, like I did a lot of gifts for people. I didn't think I did that many. Apparently I did. And yeah, there was definitely some unexpected things. So for context, because I don't think I've gotten into this very much, I only started really diving into textiles and fiber arts in 2021 in the spring. And that was because one of my friends, she had been bothering me to get into quilting. I knew it was something I wanted to do. I had a sewing machine that I got from my partner's mother, and I just hadn't used it yet. So in the spring of 2021, I sat down and I made my first quilt. So anyway, that was my entryway drug into textiles. So once I made the first quilt, I made a couple quilts in the summer, and then I moved into knitting. And I hadn't really knit anything before. I've always been interested in kind of fashion, but how to make good quality fashion pieces, and kind of having a nice wardrobe. And I liked this idea of making my own clothing. So I picked up knitting again, and this time it was with a vengeance. I had made a couple things before, but obviously for whatever reason, this was the right time for me in August of 2021 to try and knit a sweater. I wore it in my last podcast episode. It was a journey. And then coming into this time of year last year, I made 6 quilts within a span of 2.5 months, and from piecing to quilted. And it was a lot. And I definitely started January of 2022 feeling burnt out. And funnily enough, I was reviewing my list of things I make every month and kind of going through Instagram. Now, I don't post super often. It's a thing I'd like to do more, but it was funny because January, February, March, following the quilt, massive amounts of quilts I did for Christmas, I'm not going to do that again. That was a once in a lifetime thing. It was too much. I continued to make quilts as my primary craft. I was in a pattern test for a quilt pattern. I was doing a sew along for another pattern, and both those were quite complex quilts. So they were taking up a lot of my time. And then I put the finishing touches on some other quilt tops. And when I say quilts, I just mean the quilt tops. Putting them together with the layers of batting and backing and then quilting the whole thing is not the part that I enjoy as much. But I really love piecing the quilt tops. So I have a pile of quilt tops from early this spring. So it was a lot of just finishing that up. And for someone who was burnt out of quilting, I kept quilting a lot, and because I needed something. And I'm pretty sure I don't note down when I start something, which I would like to try and do. So I know if within that time I started to cast on the Field Day jacket by Ozetta, because I wanted a big heavy cardigan. But nothing got done until May, knit-wise. I was 5 months, almost 6 months without having any finished knitting projects except for a class I took. And looking back at that, I was wow, that was kind of wild. Because after that, the knitting obsession started. And so for probably only 7 months, maybe 8 months of the year was when I really got into knitting. And so now I knit obsessively. I'm always knitting. I always have to have something in my hands. Quilting has definitely I haven't done as much. I did a quilt for myself in the fall, and I quilted it and put the backing on it because I was I want this. I've had the fabric for it for almost a year. It's like I finished that one for myself, but all the quilts I did otherwise, other than like the quilt tops in this like winter, all the other quilts I did this year were for other people primarily. I did quite a bit of gift quilting because I just think they make excellent gifts. And quite frankly, I would rather make a quilt for someone than knit them something. I don't know why. I just love quilts, and I love giving quilts. And then I was knitting, and then throughout this entire thing, I've been sewing garments. And I find sewing garments and knitting garments are such like a perfect, like they go together so perfectly because you can then really create entirely your own wardrobe for exactly what you want. And so I love exploring. That's why I love making sweaters, because I love making garments. I love kind of exploring my style through what I make. And so I got to go on that journey too. And my sewing journey, I don't talk about as much. I think I've shown some things, but I have come leaps and bounds there too. My God, the like couple things I made in 2021, because I kind of started sewing garments or experimenting with garment sewing around the same time I started quilting, because it was like, oh, I can sew, I can do this. And it's been a journey. Those first two things, there are a couple things I still have that were like my first makes, and I wear them, specifically one dress I have just because it's so light and breezy. So when it's really hot, it's great in the summer. A lot of those pieces I made, they were cut up and put in my like scrap stash, or they were donated. They didn't see the light of day. Including some from like early 2022. Specifically, like I remember the first thing I made was, if you're familiar with the brand Son de Fleur, they made these amazing linen dresses. And so I went and I bought linen, really nice navy blue linen. I was going to make a dress in their style. It didn't go very well. I've learned a lot since then. So that's been another journey. So today, now that I can look back, I'm going to go through all the things I've knit. I'm going to do knitting first, and then the second part will be going through sewing. So if you don't want to hang around because you don't care about garment sewing, feel free to skip once I'm done with the knitwear. Okay, so the first sweater I finished was the Ozetta field day jacket, and it is a very long, very oversized cardigan. And this is the first cardigan I've ever done. It was slightly less intimidating because I opted to put snaps instead of buttonholes. Now, for whatever reason, I made this in a size medium. And I don't know why, because I'm like for sure a small. And Ozettas, if you ever made any of her patterns, they're quite oversized, which I love, but I made a medium. I should have made a small. So I find it like a little too big, although like perfect for taking on camping trips and stuff because it's nice and warm to cozy up in. Get a little closer. So the wool is a local Alberta, local Canadian wool from a mill that's in Alberta called Custom Woolen Mills. And I really started the first part of the year off really focused on using local fibers. So this was kind of my ode to that, is this nice big cardigan. Because they use a mule spinner to do their yarn's a lot softer than other Canadian wools like Briggs & Little, which is really great because I find that wool quite picky. Actually, this technically wasn't my first one. I learned how to do color work this year in a class I had mentioned. So this is Briggs & Little. It softens up, I find, after blocking, but still a bit rough, especially because this is a cowl to go around your neck. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to use this, but it was cute. It was a great learning opportunity. So yeah, I would recommend Custom Woolen Mills if you're looking for a Canadian wool. It's really well priced too. But yeah, for my second sweater ever, I'm pretty happy with it. There's the first time the only second sweater, the first time doing a cardigan, and the first time doing a drop shoulder construction. So big learning. So yeah, that is the Field Day jacket by Ozetta. I think I finished this in May. And this was closely followed by another sweater. So this is the Mohair Gallant sweater by Kadri. And it is a cropped mohair sweater. Now I made it with Estelle Alpaca Whisper. So it's a alpaca silk and mohair mix. So it's a little thicker. If the camera moves, stop that. My cat's sitting behind my stand. No. How about we the offender? So this was I'm not sure which one I finished. I needed a break from the Field Day cardigan because it's just like, because it's so long, working back and forth in Pro Rows was getting kind of exhausting. So this was a break for a cute little sweater. It was done super fast. I would recommend this for a beginner. I think I talked about it in my first podcast. I think I finished this in May as well. Really great because there's no short row shaping. I think if I was to make this again, I would put some short row shaping because the back kind of rides up a little bit because there's no shaping, but it makes it a really easy sweater to do. And I love the neckline, how it's almost kind of like a mock neck. Yeah, so I usually wear this with jeans. It's super cute. It's like I wore it to a Christmas party the other week with a skirt because it's just like a little fancy with the I-cord and the neckline. I just think it's really pretty. So yeah, the Mohair Gallant sweater. So this is the third one, and I finished this in June. And this was my first test knit I've ever done. And this is she just released it. It's the Gentle Lopey Tunic by the Mandarins, or Holly Hoffman is her name. She's a French knitwear designer. And it's a really long, really oversized tunic sweater, fairly easy construction. It has braiding down the along the lines here, and that's actually done with a crochet hook. And this is done with 2 strands of Plutalope. I think if Plutalope is too rough for you, I would do it with 2 strands of Manchalope, which is nice because it comes in 2 strands when you have the plates. But again, I probably should have sized down. I probably should have offered to do the size 1. I think I did a size 2. It's a little, like, it's just very wide here, I find. But I love the split hem and how long it is. Like, I'm wearing leggings today. It's just like perfect. It's super warm. It is like been minus 35 all week here, and I've been wearing this, and it's just like perfect for this type of weather. I find I don't have a wool sensitivity, but sometimes prickly things are like a little too much for me. But this Plutalope, because it's drapey, it's not really lying on my skin too much as long as I have a t-shirt underneath. And it definitely has softened, so it's worth a try. It would also be nice, I think, held with a mohair, because the fabric's not too dense. You could totally get away with it, and that might help soften it as well if you wanted to try this one. So yeah, the Gentle Lopey Tunic. Okay, so this is definitely one of my favorites I've knit this year. Probably one of the favorite things I've made this year, like, period. And this is my really beautiful blue Edgar cardigan by Colburbury. This was also a test knit. You're going to see a theme with what I'm knitting now. So this is my second test knit. This is a raglan style cardigan. It's got these really cool twisted rib details also on the sleeve. I've shown this one, I think, a few times. The color, spectacular. It's the only colorful thing I made. I'm definitely more of a neutrals kind of person, so this was like a statement for me, but I'm so happy with it. It's so cozy. This is made with Cascade 220, and I think Robin's Egg Blue, and then I'm also holding it with a strand of mohair, silk mohair, and the buttons are just so pretty. And yeah, this is definitely like a favorite. I was so proud of it. I still am. It just feels so luxurious. Surprisingly, There's a bit of pilling, but I think kind of between the twisted rib and the mohair, it's really holding together well, which makes me really happy. It's still nice and flowy and drapey. And yeah, would recommend this one. I was really happy. It's a fun color. Definitely something to break up all these neutrals because there's more neutrals coming. Okay, so this is the Rain Shawl by Drea Renee Knits, Andrew Mowry. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'll show you, it's super textured. So we have this, I think it's tabby pattern here at the end, and then it's diagonal lines, garter stitch, and brioche. And it's the first time I've ever done brioche. I was really happy how it turned out. There's a couple little mistakes with the brioche, but I'm not too concerned about that. And this is the one I brought with me to work on, partially while we were in Nova Scotia. I think I told this story of how I lost a ball out of the van we were staying in, and so I had to stop working on it until my partner's mom came to visit us in Halifax and could bring me the other ball because I still needed it. So this is my first shawl I've ever done. I'm really happy. It's definitely I want to do more shawls. I love Andrew Mowry's shawls specifically. They're just really cool. And this was fun because it was all yarns I had just collected and I wasn't sure what to do with it, and they just worked so well. It was the perfect pumpkin spice fall shawl, and I've worn it a lot. It's super cozy. The drape, when I was knitting it, I was kind of worried because all the yarns I was using were pretty rustic, but the drape and the bounce are just amazing. So super happy with this nice squishy rain shawl. Okay. This is something you haven't seen on this channel yet. I decided to make the horrid decision to do 2 test knits at once. Both due on the same day at the end of November, rolling right into December with the gift knitting. And so I had my hands full. November was October and November were kind of busy months, I found. And I still managed to pump out 2 test knits. So this is the Edgar Troyer by Colibri, same as the Edgar cardigan. No, Claude Troyer, not Edgar. Claude Troyer. It's got this amazing buttoned feature here. It only goes part way down. And this lovely squishy double collar and slightly ballooned sleeves. And it's all in garter stitch. Surprisingly, I was really impressed how easy this was to do. I did it a bit different than the pattern was intending it for, but I'm really happy with the turnout. I love this feature. I've been wearing this sweater a lot. It's just, I've never been someone to wear a deep brown. I'm going to need more deep brown in my life because I love this. I love how it turned out. This was done in Drops. It's one of their alpaca mixes. Drops Nord. It was an Aran weight. So super soft, super squishy. It's definitely showing some wear. I think maybe if I was to use Drops Nord again, I don't know if I will. You have to buy a lot of balls. I think this was 13, 14, 15 balls. I have to look at it because there's only 75 meters to a ball. I have bought most of it on sale while I was in Nova Scotia. So it was the perfect project to use it up. I still have some left because I had to order more because I wasn't going to have enough. I think it would be a little better and add some strength if I had a mohair held with it. Not because I don't necessarily want it to have that halo, but just because it does add strength to it. So just something to note. It does pill a little bit, but it's not bad. And I've worn this a lot. It's super cozy. It's really cute with jeans tucked in. So yeah, the Claude Troyer by Colibri Knits. This is my last sweater for the year. So yeah, really happy with this one. I love this one. So then the other test knit, this one broke my heart a little bit. So this is supposed to be the library shawl by Oleanak Knits, Heather Nolan. and they accepted me into their test knit. This is the same one that was due at the same time as this one. I'm a monogamous knitter primarily. I just like knowing I have a project and it's going to get done. Switching between two, I definitely struggled with a bit. Like I'd started this one, needed a break because I'll show you the herringbone in a little bit. And then I knit this whole sweater and then I went back to this. But it is a herringbone. You can see there, it's really pretty. The pattern was, the reason the edge looks like this, the cast on edge, the pattern, when we were testing it, wasn't offset for the herringbone pattern to work, and I was too far into it once it got caught to change it, so it is what it is. Definitely, there are a few other folks, theirs turned out a lot nicer. I didn't gauge swatch. This is supposed to be at least twice as big. I just forgot to gauge swatch because actually I usually do gauge swatch, especially for tests. Like I really see the importance. I don't mind it because like I can do it in a sitting in a short amount of time. I just forgot. I completely blanked. And so this is a lot smaller than what it's supposed to be. And usually I have really good tension, like both my purling and my knitting are like fairly even, and apparently not my herringbone. So it's more like a scarf now. And I should say, and it's a shame because I really wanted it to be nice and big because that's how it's supposed to be. So it's more like a scarf now, which is fine. I just wear it outside because it's been cold. Like it's still cute. It's just not big and all encompassing like you want a good shawl to be. So I would watch that if you do that. Just check the gauge. It also has German shortwear shaping to get that point, which it's a little funky to do with herringbone stitch, but it was interesting. I kind of figured it out after the first few rows. And I did this with one strand of knitted in and one strand in like their color snow, so it's quite white, like a cream white. And then I didn't want it like bright white, so I held it with a strand of Knitting for Olive silk mohair in, I think, wheat. So it has a bit more of that yellowy color. Definitely no, more cream to beige. So yeah, I'm happy. It's super luxurious because it has those two yarns in it, but a bit disappointing, and that's not on the pattern, that was on me for just blanking and being slightly overwhelmed. It took a long time. This definitely took the same amount of time, if not more, than the sweater. Just because herringbone stitch is so slow. I got into a rhythm of it after a while. It might have been easier if I checked my gauge and things were a little looser. So yeah, but in the end, it's really luxurious feeling and it's a cute scarf. So it's not a waste, it's just like a bit of a disappointment. And yeah, that's everything I knit in 2021. It's not like a colossal list like some people have, but I'm really proud of everything I made here. I've learned a lot with all these pieces, and so I feel like I'm starting 2023 with like clearer intentions with what I want in it, and I feel like I finally have the comfort and skill to be able to like really make garments that are exactly what I want, and I know I can make them look good. So yeah, now I will get into showing you everything I sewed in 2022, which is definitely a longer list than what I knit. Okay, so the first dress I did this year was a failure, and it became another dress that you will see. But one of the first successful dresses I made this year is this midi length corduroy dress. She's got pockets. You can see it's like a really fine corduroy. And yeah, it was an attempt at having a winter dress, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So next we have this pink smock dress. Now I should say the corduroy dress, this dress, and a bunch of other dresses I made are from a self-drafted pattern that I made. That was kind of like zombieing and Frankensteining different pieces together from a few other patterns. And this is definitely one of my most worn dresses of the year. Again, midi length. It's got pockets. And it is a pink cotton gauze from Blackbird Fabrics. Highly recommend. Theirs is definitely some of the nicest cotton gauze I've seen. And it's really, really comfy. Okay, so this is another cotton gauze dress from Blackbird Fabrics. And also has pockets. This is, I think it's the Luciana dress. I can post it below. Anyway, I really like how the bodice fit. It's really pretty, but I've struggled with getting the shoulders to fit. So I have a few ideas. I just haven't gotten around to it. Probably this spring when I start wearing this again, I will try and fix these sleeves so that they fit better. Otherwise, it was heavily inspired by a dress I saw on Pinterest. And I think other than the shoulder fitting, it was a pretty good execution. So then along with the pink dress, I made this dress. The sleeves are a little shorter, but basically it's the same thing. Another self-drafted dress, this in like an oatmeal linen. And other than the pink dress, this is definitely my like most worn piece. It's just so comfortable. It's so airy, perfect for spring and summer. I wore it as much as I could. This is definitely will not be my last linen smock dress. I want like multiple in like every color now because they're just like so comfortable. Once again, another cotton self-drafted midi dress with pockets. You can see a theme here. I was like very much into looking like a peasant or like I should be working on a farm in the olden days. So this one I did a button up front, so it's a much higher on the neck than the other dresses. I raised it up and then I gave it some puffier sleeves, which I'm really happy with. I definitely get some like pulling on the buttons if I like kind of open my chest out, but it's fine. I don't leave the house a lot. I work from home, but super comfortable for fall. I like how the bodice fits. Yeah, I love the button. Really nice for like coming into cooler seasons, and it's like pumpkin spice color. And it's like a check kind of with white, and this was also from Blackbird Fabrics. And then my last self-drafted dress I made is this one. Once again, she got pockets. Again, this was cotton fabric from Blackbird Cat Fabrics. It's lined with linen, and it was fall. My intent is to more wear like a turtleneck or a collared shirt underneath. I did not order enough fabric, so the skirt isn't as wide as I would like it because I usually like it with some more gathered. That is the last dress. It was an experiment to do sleeveless. I think it turned out all right, but definitely the other dresses I wear more than this one. So this one was interesting. This is a pattern test I actually did for Caledonia Dreaming, I think is what her pattern company is called. And she's a little short. I like midi length to like just above the knees. This is definitely like a little short, but it's okay. It's cute. And it has a nice open back. It is made with a navy linen. And actually the first dress I made this year, which was a failure, became this dress. This is all cut out of the material that I used in that dress. So the skirt has different seam lines in it in some places because I was repurposing the skirt into a new one, which honestly in the second half of the year has really become like a really fun experiment of like, hey, this didn't work out, but I can repurpose the fabric and make something else that I will wear. So a lot of the dresses, especially the two fall dresses I made, they are both lined inside completely with pieces of other dresses, which kind of makes it fun because it's like a little pop of color that only you're aware of. But yeah, I can link this one below. And it's really cute. I do enjoy it. I do find it flares out to the sides a little bit if I don't have it like really tied in tight. But perfect for like a hot day or like going on a picnic or something. Okay, so this is one of two of the same dress, and it's the Maya Cami Slip by Paper Cut Patterns, I believe. And It's one of my favorites. This is the second one I made, so it fits a little better. I sized up through the hips, but it's made with this like gorgeous Cupro fabric that I got in Calgary. And it's a midi. It goes below my knees too, which you can't see, but the back comes down low. But yeah, I'll show you the other one. So this is the second one. It's a little tight through here, which I think I can see on camera, but it's also the Maya cami slip. This in a like kind of thicker slinky fabric from Blackbird Fabrics. They're best. And I have gotten a lot of wear out of this one too. Black is definitely classic. I've worn it on like date nights with a jean jacket and some like sneakers, and it's super cute. It's easy to wear. Makes me feel good. But yeah, definitely like a pattern I'd recommend if you're into like the slip dresses. Yeah, because it's simple and I think it looks good. And I believe it's a size inclusive pattern. And from all the photos I've seen online, it looks good on everyone. So yeah, highly recommend. Okay, so this is a set I made, and it's this, I'm going to say this wrong, but the Seguero set by a Friday Pattern Company. And it is a top with like a plunging v-neck, and then you can't see, but loosey-goosey pants. I've definitely got more wear out of the pants. Perfect for summer, fall. Perfect for yoga class too, because they're so flowy and comfortable. They're just easy to wear with like a tank top on. But it's super cute. I like the like little bit of tummy. It's another pattern or a size inclusive one as well. Seems to look amazing on everyone of every size, and really simple. One of my friends who doesn't do a whole lot of garment sewing is making this out of like a jewel blue linen, which I think will be just fabulous. I want to make this in linen. This is a another cotton gauze. I love cotton gauze. It's easy to sew with. It's super comfortable. It keeps you cool. It's like cozy at the same time. I have no complaints with using cotton gauze. If you want something easy to start, kind of like dive into sewing that's also impactful, I highly recommend this. Okay, so I'm wearing two pieces I made. I would normally style these together, but for the sake of time, we're putting them together. So the first is the Tudor top by Stitch Witch Patterns. I love her patterns. I haven't made any, but I have a collection of them, and they're like my dream pieces. So this was one of them, made with leftover blue linen. I think I had about like 5 meters of that. So this, along with the dress I made and this, were using up the fabric I had. So really nice that way. Usually I'd wear this with the high-waisted jeans, and it's a wrap top, so it ties in the back. As you can see, it's just two pieces that you pull over. I like this top. I love how it looks. Because I have to tie it quite tight to get all the fabric to stay, because it kind of gapes. I find it a little tight, especially because my stomach gets bloated. So we only wear it for short amount of time, if it's not like a food-centric activity. But it's really cute. There's another version of it with just a button-up instead of the wrap top, and I wouldn't mind having that because I think it's really cute. Yeah, that's that. Happy with the pattern. It's just, I like comfort above all. So, but other than that, I like it. And then these are the Bisque trousers by Vivian Chow, forget her name. And they are a tapered pant with pockets, and then there's pleats here, and it is elastic, so super comfy. And I made these out of this very large wool remnant that I still have enough fabric to make another pair of more fitted trousers out of. And they were kind of fun. It was definitely stepping it up from all the dresses I've been making that are very simple. There's not a whole lot to them. I don't even put zippers in them because I don't like zippers. So these are definitely a little more technical, but I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. Nice for winter. And they'd be great if you are the kind of person who wants to dress up and feel a little preppy, but you don't like tight waists. So that's what my intent was with them. I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. I figure I'll talk while I lace this up because it's going to take a bit. But I'm definitely of the opinion that sometimes you just make things, especially like sewing in garments, there's definitely like a pressure to make them the ideal like wardrobe staple and stuff, which I'm all for. Like that is why I learned how to sew. But I also think sometimes it's just about having fun and making something for the sake of making it, because in the end, you're going to learn something. I learned a lot of new techniques making this corset. This is the Emma Breeze corset. And it was a labor of love. We'll just say that. So it's got a stomacher piece. So I knew I wanted to make a corset. It was supposed to be for like a Halloween costume, but I was kind of hoping it could be something that I could maybe like wear over a dress. I don't think I just wear this by itself. It's not like quite my style. And you're like, Sid, you just said you like comfort. Yeah, that. It's not super comfortable, but I think layered with the right pieces, it could be cool, like over a dress or something. And most of it, because I just wanted to try and make a corset. Now, the sizing on the pattern is a little off. I found, because this was definitely quite a bit too small, and I would have had to go up multiple sizes to really get this to be like a 2-inch gap. This is more like a 5-inch gap. So upon realizing that it wasn't going to fit properly, I made the stomacher wider and I added extra pieces in here while I still had the thing apart, because I didn't have enough fabric to be able to get this, which honestly, for like a funky costume piece that like maybe I'll wear out once or twice, I'm totally okay with that because it was fun to make. Like inserting the grommets, yeah, you can tell it's like not quite fitting properly, but I think overdress would be fine. But like putting in the big grommets, learning how to put boning all through it because it's fully boned. Yeah, it was just one of those things. It was more a creative project. It took quite a bit of time, but the instructions were really clear and she had a video, so I didn't ever feel like I was out of my element and like panicking. But it was a bit of a labor of love, especially trying to fix the sizing issues once I figured out it was a thing. So really good lessons, and it's kind of fun, you know? I like it. But yeah, that is the last thing I sewed. There's a chance I'm going to make a dress for New Year's, but that'll be for another video. So yeah, so hope you enjoyed everything I sewed in 2022.
So I lied. I made the Grove coat by Twig and Tail as a pattern test. And I did a full wool coat, completely lined. I was shocked. It turned out so well. All the fabric was remnants that I got at the thrift store. And the reason I don't have it to show is because it became a gift from my mom for Christmas. But definitely like one of my proudest makes, yeah, for sewing.
So I hope you enjoyed my little journey of going through everything I made for myself garment-wise for 2022. A few other things that like I'm not going to go into super depth, but as I said, I've made quilts. I got into bag making this year, so I've made myself a couple project bags and like a big tote for knitting. I really started getting into weaving, and I had the opportunity to take a 4-shaft weaving class, which then I bought. You can see it in the corner. I bought an 8-shaft loom, which that'll be a 2023 thing to really actually get started using it. I've had it for a few months, but I now have a loom, which is exciting. And yeah, it's been a big month. This month alone, I've learned how to use magic loops so I could do toe-up socks. Both are new skills. And then I also learned, as I had mentioned, I learned how to do color work, which I'm going to be applying. And for a gift I need to finish. It'll be after Christmas. It's not going to be done on time. But yeah, it's been a year of a lot of learning. Probably one of the biggest things for me personally was finally finding a group. Since moving here 4 years ago now. Most of that has been through COVID. And some of the friends I'd had early on while moving here have now moved away. And so I was really feeling kind of not lonely, but just like missing that friend connection and having a group of people. So, especially the last few months, kind of the second half of the year when you were able to go to do knit nights again, I reconnected with so I took a class on how to do color work where we made this, and I reconnected with the woman who taught that, and so we started going to knit night together with my friend Carolyn. And then while we're at knit night, there's kind of like a group of us who are younger who started all hanging out. And then we've kind of brought other friends that we've met through different fiber things, through going to markets. So now there's a group of us, and we have a great time. It's really nice being able to host our own knit nights. We still do it once a week, except we've moved on from the local yarn store that we were going to now we do it. We kind of like shift around each other's houses every week. And it's probably one of like, despite everything I've made, that's probably one of like my most precious things, is just like finally having a community, making this YouTube channel, and talking to you guys through the comments, and then starting my Instagram and making friends online. It's been fun, like just creating that community both in person and online. It's been really exciting. It's very like fulfilling. So yeah, it's been a wonderful year. I'm going to put a video out soon on my intentions for my crafting practice. So it's kind of going to be a bit all-encompassing for 2023 out soon. And yeah, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope that you all get to have time to relax and let go and have some fun and maybe dabble in some crafting if you're not burnt out from all the Christmas knitting. Yeah, have a wonderful rest of your 2022, and I hope 2023 brings you lots of great stuff. Bye.